Okay, so are you ready to dive into something kind of wild?
Always up for a wild ride. What do we got?
Well, today we're talking about the gateway experience,
Okay.
and our main source is this declassified CIA document.
Wait, really? CIA?
Yeah, from like 1983.
Wow. Okay, so like straight out of a spy movie.
Right. You start with a CIA document, and who knows where you end up. Oh,
So what's the deal with this gateway experience? Is it some kind of secret program for training super spies or something?
I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it's
Yeah.
actually more complicated than that.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So basically, this document, it's all about whether this technique, this gateway experience, it's like a training program developed by this group called the Monroe Institute.
Okay.
And it uses sound to alter your state of consciousness.
So like meditation,
Mm-hmm.
but with a more, I don't know, technological approach.
Exactly. It's like meditation, but with a high-tech twist.
Okay. I can dig it. So how does it work?
The core technology is something called hemisync.
Hemisync. That rings a bell. It uses binaural beats or something like that,
You
right?
got it. Binaural beats are a big part of it.
So we're talking about those sounds that play different frequencies in each ear.
Yeah, and it creates this weird effect where your brain perceives a third tone.
Right. It's like this phantom frequency that emerges for the difference between the two tones.
Exactly. And somehow that messes with your brain waves. It's like
Yeah.
tricking your brain into syncing up to a specific frequency.
Wow, that's wild. I've tried those binaural beats apps before, but they mostly just made me feel kind of spacey. Is that what the gateway experience is all about? Just making your brain feel fuzzy?
Well, it's not just about feeling spacey. The document suggests that syncing the two halves of your brain, it can have some pretty profound effects.
Okay, so we're talking about right brain, left brain kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
getting your logical side and your creative side to work together.
Exactly. And they believe that when you can do that, it unlocks all sorts of hidden potential.
Hmm, interesting. I can see how that could be powerful. So is that what this whole gateway experience thing is about? Basically just a brain sync up session?
It's more than just a brain workout. It gets into some pretty wild territory.
Like what? Give me the good stuff.
Okay, so they get into this whole thing about the homunculus.
Homunculus.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're just using big words to sound smart.
No, but seriously, the homunculus, it's like this visual map of how different parts of your brain are connected to different parts of your body.
Okay, I vaguely remember that from anatomy class. Something about how certain areas of the brain control specific body parts, right?
Yeah, and the document suggests that by changing your brainwave patterns, like they're doing with hemisync,
Right.
you can actually influence your body's energy flow.
Hold on. Energy flow, are we talking about chakras and auras now?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure I'm ready to go full new age on you.
No, not auras, but they definitely get into some pretty far out concepts.
Like what?
Okay, so for example, they talk about this idea that we're not just physical beings, but also beings of energy.
Okay, I've heard that before. It's like we're all vibrating at different frequencies or something.
Right, and they believe that the gateway experience can help you tap into that energy and maybe even manipulate it.
All right, now you're really starting to lose me.
Yeah.
This is starting to sound a little too woo-woo for me.
I know, but that's what's so fascinating about this whole thing. It's like they're trying to bridge the gap between science and something. Well, something beyond science.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like they're taking these mystical ideas and trying to explain them in a scientific way.
Exactly.
So who wrote this document anyway? Was it some rogue scientist in the CIA trying to prove the existence of ESP or something?
Well, the author of the document is a man named Wayne McDonnell.
Okay.
And he seemed to be approaching this from a pretty analytical perspective, like he was really trying to understand the science behind it all.
So he wasn't just trying to, like, summon spirits with sound waves.
Well, he doesn't say that.
Okay.
But he does use this great analogy to explain the difference between ordinary consciousness and the kind of focused state you can achieve through hemisync.
Okay, what's the analogy? Hit me with it.
He compares it to the difference between a lamp and a laser.
A lamp and a laser. I'm not sure I follow.
Okay, so think about it. A lamp, it just scatters its light everywhere, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But a laser, it's this focused beam of energy. It's precise and powerful.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. So he's saying that hemisync, it's like focusing your mind into a laser beam.
Exactly. And McDonnell believed that by doing that, you could enhance your perception, your awareness, maybe even break through the limitations of our everyday reality.
Okay, now that's just cool. But how do you actually do that? You just strap on some headphones, listen to some weird sounds, and boom, you're basically Neo from the Matrix.
Well, not quite.
It's definitely not as easy as just strapping on some headphones, unfortunately. The document emphasizes that you can't just waltz into this thing unprepared.
There's homework. Like, I have to study for this.
Well, McDonald compares the physics behind these altered states to something Niels Bohr said.
Niels Bohr, the physics guy.
Yeah, he said something about how sometimes you need a completely different kind of thinking to grasp certain physics concepts, and McDonald says it's the same with altered states.
So you got to kind of rewire your brain before you can even begin to understand it.
It's more like you need to be open to new ways of thinking, new ways of perceiving reality.
Okay, so no shortcuts then. What kind of wild stuff are we talking about here? What did they think this could do?
Well, McDonald and Bentov, they believe that this gateway experience could help you tap into realms beyond our normal understanding of time and space. They thought it could unlock all sorts of hidden knowledge.
Hold on, hidden knowledge. Like what? Are we talking about ancient secrets, lost civilizations, that kind of thing?
They were open to exploring all sorts of possibilities, like accessing information from the past or even the future.
Wait, are you saying they thought time travel might be possible with this?
Let's just say they were open to some pretty wild ideas. And one of the most mind-bending concepts is this idea of clicking out of time and space, of the universe, as a hologram.
Okay, hold on. A hologram, like the entire universe.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around, right?
Yeah.
But Bentov, he believed that every point in space-time contains information about the entire universe, past, present, and future.
So you're saying the universe is like a giant cosmic hard drive, and this gateway experience is the key to unlocking it.
That's one way to think about it.
Mm.
He believed our brains are like receivers, tuned to a very specific frequency, and that by shifting that frequency through practices like the gateway experience, we could tap into this vast network of information.
Okay, that's both fascinating and a little terrifying. Imagine the possibilities, but also the risks of messing with forces we don't understand.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword for sure.
So how does clicking out of time-space actually work? What's it like? Do you just suddenly find yourself in a different dimension?
I wish it were that easy. The document is a little vague on the specifics.
Probably for the best, right?
Yeah, but they describe it as a shift in consciousness, where you move beyond your normal perception of time and space.
So you could potentially explore other dimensions with your mind, like astral projection on steroids.
Something like that. And what's really interesting is that they talk about being able to sustain these altered states for a pretty long time.
Oh, yeah. How long are we talking about?
They mentioned being able to maintain hemisync for over 15 minutes.
15 minutes. That's a long time to be out there.
Right. And it makes you wonder what's really possible with this stuff.
Did they talk about how they were able to do that?
They mentioned the importance of REM sleep, that deep sleep state where we dream.
Yeah, I'm familiar with REM sleep.
Well, it seems our brainwave patterns during REM sleep are similar to the states achieved through hemisync.
So they're basically trying to replicate the conditions of REM sleep, but while you're awake.
Exactly. It's like hacking into your brain's dream state.
That's kind of trippy when you think about it.
Right. And it's not just about the sounds. The document also emphasizes the importance of active mental participation.
So you can't just zone out and expect to have an out-of-body experience.
Not exactly. You have to actively use visualization and intention to navigate these altered states.
So it's not just listening, it's about actively participating, using your imagination to shape the experience.
Precisely. The gateway experience is all about tapping into the power of your own mind.
Okay, so it's not just about the tech, it's about the user too.
It's a two-way street, and it requires effort, focus, and a willingness to surrender to the unknown.
So no guarantees then?
Well, the document does describe a series of focus levels, each representing a deeper state of consciousness.
Focus levels. Is that like leveling up in a video game, but for your mind?
Kind of. It starts with focus 10, which is like a state of deep relaxation and expanded awareness.
Okay, sounds relaxing enough. What happens after that?
From there, it progresses through increasingly profound levels, each with its own unique characteristics and challenges.
And I'm guessing the ultimate goal is to reach the final level.
Right, the final level is Focus 21, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. What's so special about Focus 21?
They describe it as clicking out of time-space, accessing other dimensions, even merging with a universal consciousness.
Whoa, merging with a universal consciousness. Okay, now you're just messing with me.
I'm just telling you what the document says. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you.
I don't know what to believe anymore. But keep going. You've got me on the edge of my seat here.
It gets even wilder, but we'll save that for next time.
Wait, don't leave me hanging. We've got to unpack all of this. Okay, so Focus 21. Clicking out of time and space, other dimensions, merging with a universal consciousness. I need to know more. How do they think this is even possible?
Right, well, it gets pretty out there, but the document suggests that in this state, Focus 21, you're no longer limited by your physical body or our normal perception of time.
So you could travel anywhere, anytime, with just your mind.
It's more like you'd be accessing information and experiences directly from this universal consciousness, this field of pure energy and information.
Okay, that's a lot to take in, but I think I'm starting to get it. But how do you even get to that point? What do you actually do during a gateway session?
Well, it starts with those hemisync tapes, of course, to synchronize your brainwaves.
Right, gotta get those brain hemispheres in sync.
Exactly. But it's not just passive listening. The document also talks about using something called auto-hypnotic suggestion.
Autohypnotic, so like self-hypnosis.
Exactly. It's about using the power of suggestion, both from the tapes and from your own mind, to deepen the experience and guide you toward those altered states.
So it's a combination of technology and your own mental focus.
Precisely. And it takes practice, dedication, and a willingness to surrender to the unknown.
It's like a mental workout, but instead of lifting weights, you're expanding your consciousness.
That's a great way to put it. And as you progress through those focus levels, you start to tap into deeper and deeper levels of awareness.
And what kind of things might you experience at those deeper levels? The document mentions some pretty wild stuff.
Well, it talks about things like out-of-body experiences, astral projection, even encountering non-physical entities.
Okay, now you're just messing with me, right? Non-physical entities. Are we talking ghosts? Aliens?
The document doesn't get into specifics, but it suggests that in these altered states, it's possible to interact with forms of consciousness or energy that exist beyond our normal perception.
So basically anything is possible.
I wouldn't say anything, but it definitely challenges our conventional understanding of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the beginning. The document goes even further, talking about advanced gateway techniques that supposedly allow you to do things like heal yourself, solve complex problems, even influence the future.
Wait, what? Influence the future? Now you're just pulling my leg.
I'm serious. They call it patterning, where you use visualization and intention to try and manifest desired outcomes. And then there's problem solving, where you tap into a universal information field to find solutions.
So you're telling me I could have just used this problem-solving technique instead of pulling an all-nighter to finish that presentation last week?
Maybe. But remember, these are advanced techniques, and the document emphasizes that they should be approached with caution and respect.
Right, because we wouldn't want to accidentally create a paradox in the space-time continuum or anything.
Exactly. But on a more serious note, the document does suggest that these techniques have the potential to be incredibly powerful, both for personal growth and for addressing larger global issues.
That's a pretty big claim. But honestly, after diving into this gateway experience, I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, there's more to reality than meets the eye.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. It's not about whether you believe in every single claim. It's about being open to the possibility that there's more out there than we realize.
It's about asking questions, exploring the unknown, and expanding our definition of what's possible.
Exactly. And who knows what we might discover along the way.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the Gateway experience. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our exploration. To our listeners, keep an open mind, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep exploring the mysteries of the universe. Until next time, this has been The Deep Dive.